You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari, and today we're going to talk about being frustrated. I mean, who hasn't, right? I mean, you get a tire that pops while you're driving, you running late to a meeting. Who knows? So many things can kind of tip us over the edge, right? And spiral us into a place where it's hard to get back on track. It's like, how do you stay motivated? How do you achieve those goals and dreams we want when we feel like we're constantly being beat down with the sometimes nuances or things that we just want to be better at? So what I want you to think about over the course of this show is, what are the frustrations in your life? Where do you feel as though, there's blocks, there's limitations? And are those real? Are those really valid reasons for why you're not able to proceed with what you're trying for in life? So we want to identify what those frustrations are and then put together a plan of action, how we can get you over that hump. Also, we're going to be taking your calls. Again, that number's 800-333-0001. Feel free to call in. I'm here to take your questions and hopefully give you some feedback to move you forward. Also, in our next segment, we're going to have Kristen Renton on the show. She's an actress well known for roles on Days of Our Lives or Sons of Anarchy. And she's going to be talking about her journey with lupus. And again, if you want to hear today's show, go to livingfullout.com. All the episodes are waiting there for you. We want to keep you empowered every day. Now, we're going to go to the phone lines. I get a word from our producer here that we do have a caller looking for some advice. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for calling in. How can we help you?
Okay. Is it good for my mental health to mend a past relationship that ended on bad terms, or is it better to just let go of that relationship entirely?
It's a good question, because I don't know anybody who hasn't, gone into kind of that festered place of thinking of that person and the land of regrets, right? Could I, should I, would I have done something differently? But what you want to look at is, what was the breakdown of that relationship? If you had to say one thing, why did it fall apart? What do you think?
I think timing was just wrong.
Okay.
Like timing and the place was just off.
Okay. And is that timing today still off? It's still not quite there?
I would say yes.
Okay. And when this timing was off, did that make you feel frustrated? Like you didn't have control? You didn't have the ability to have it be what you wanted it to be?
Exactly.
Right. So if that timing is still off, and if that led you to be frustrated, that's not going to allow you to flourish and be the best version of yourself you can be, because that frustration will bleed over to career, to health, to all the other aspects of your life. So let the timing of that unfold. There's a saying, if you set something free and it comes back to you, it's yours. So the thing is you might need to set this relationship free. Let it run its course in however it's going to be. At the same time, I don't believe that we just have one soulmate. I think that there's multiple souls that we identify with. And so let life just unfold. Let the discovery of who else is out there come your way. Are you closing yourself off to other relationships because of this one that you're holding on to?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, right. Now let's just look at something here for a second. And my last advice I have for you here. What if the table was turned? What if there was this really great guy who was in love with a gal, and she, the timing wasn't right, and he was holding on to her, but oh my gosh, he was the best fit for you, but he wasn't open. He wasn't looking for you because he was, still hung up on this other gal. Wouldn't that be a bummer for you? Great guy.
Yeah.
Means everything you want. But because he can't let go of that past relationship, he can't find you. It's the same thing. So that's why you have to let this relationship go so that you can be open to that other great relationship.
That's very
kind of
true.
funny how that works. You know what I mean?
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, but I think if you do that, you'll just allow life to be fun again. You know, laugh loud. Cry. I'm a big fan of crying sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes a good cry is fine. Laugh loud. Get out there, meet people. You know, a site that I talk about quite often is called meetup.com. So if somebody's looking to meet a new connection, and maybe it's a dating relationship or just a new friend, meetup.com is a great way to do that. Or so many apps now and online websites where you can date and meet people. I say you go for it. You're a fun gal, wouldn't you say?
Thank you for that.
Right. See, that laughter, that fun. Let somebody who has arms wide open welcome you into their life so that you can, you know, live full out rather than hanging on to the past. Okay?
Very, very true. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. All right. Well, we'll be seeing you on those dating websites. Have fun. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I love that she's, you know, considering putting herself back out there, getting out of that place of being frustrated, because that's just such a waste of time when we really think about how long we have to live this life full out. We're going to go back to the phone lines now and talk to another caller. Hello. Welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hi. Hello.
Hi. So share with us what's going on.
Hi. Okay. So I'm currently in a long distance relationship. And this is like my first time being in one. And so I'm not exactly used to it. And one of the problems that I have adapting to it is the limitation of like seeing him or like talking to him, because I'm so used to having like such accessibility, to my partners. And so I was wondering like what ways can I go about in terms of like adapting to it and getting used to it?
You know what? I have been where you are. I have. And long distance relationships are not easy. But I think you want to find a way to build consistency into that relationship. Consistency could be that you talk at the same time every night, or maybe you talk to each other in the morning to kind of set your day. Maybe you do a video chat, maybe, you know, like FaceTiming or Skyping, you know, making plans so that you know when you're going to see each other. And the times that you're not with each other, let that be time that you focus on you. Because remember, before that partner, there was you, right? All your goals,
right, yeah.
all your dreams, health-wise, working out, career, friends, new friends, that all takes time. So let's just say this relationship does work out, right? And let's say a month down the road, a year down the road, whatever it may be, you guys move closer. You're going to look back going, okay, now I'm with this person 7 days a week. Gosh, I remember when I had all that personal time, right?
Yeah, that's so true.
Right? So this is that time where you have this great relationship, but you also want to maximize your personal time. And I think that you'll be less frustrated with the long distance when you feel as though you're not just sitting there by the phone or just waiting, watching life go by. Live life. Plus, it's a very attractive quality to your partner if they see you just gobbling life up, doing everything and anything. They're like, wow, I want to be with this person. She's a mover and a shaker. Right?
Yeah, that's definitely a good point.
Right? Tell them you're devoted to them. Tell them you love them. You can't wait to see them. But at the same time, when you're not with them, you're doing things. You're living life full out.
Definitely.
Now,
thank you so much. Yeah, that makes
you're
so much
welcome.
sense. Like
Yeah.
being able
So
to be like an individual.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is who knows what great talents and skills and hobbies are to be discovered in this free time that you have. So I would do that and enjoy your relationship, but just kind of, you know, put some planning into it, schedule some time, and you'll be great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your advice. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and thank you for calling in. And when we come back, we're going to be talking to Kristen Renton, our inspirational guest today. Again, she suffers from lupus, but yet it doesn't hold her back from being a starring actress on Days of Our Lives, Sons of Anarchy, Anger Management, you name it. She has done it, but she has also overcome lupus, and that's a story that we want to share with you. And again, it's all about releasing those frustrations today, so continue to think about that. What is it that's a block in your life, and how can we get that out? And most of all, it's about living full out, having fun, smiling, and enjoying life. So when we come back, we'll be talking to Kristen Renton, and this is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari. Stay with us, and we'll be right back after this break.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I'd like kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Let's make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite.
Look out! Look out!
And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about frustrations and, how do we get those out of our life, right? We don't want them to hold us back from achieving what we want. And then sometimes the frustrations come from a health battle. Sometimes you can't even put a diagnosis to it or a label to it. You just know you don't feel good. Well, our inspirational guest today, Kristen Renton, who many will know actually in her roles on Days of Our Lives, Sons of Anarchy, Anger Management. She's been out there, but she's also been dealing with lupus. And we're going to be discussing today what that is and her journey to figure out what that diagnosis is. So I'd like to welcome Kristen to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, girl?
I am doing well today. Actually, it's a beautiful day, and I'm happy to be on the show.
Awesome. You know what? I'm so happy to have you, too, because I want, first of all, we're going to take our audience back on, your journey. But can you just, first of all, share with us, what is lupus? What is that?
Lupus is a pain in my butt. No, lupus is an autoimmune disease where your body cannot differentiate between unhealthy and healthy cells, and your body starts to attack its own healthy cells. It could be whether it be organs, skin, joints, all of the above. So it is a chronic illness that many people actually suffer from across the world.
And anybody who has a chronic illness knows that it is a pain in the butt, a pain in the back, a pain in the neck. It is a pain. And so thank you for letting us know about that. Now, your first symptom of this started back in 2009. You were in your late 20s, but it's such an odd symptom. What was the first sign that something was not right in your body?
Yes. You know what? It was Thanksgiving Day, 2009, and I noticed that the tip of my pinky was severely swollen. And I couldn't quite figure it out. None of my other fingers were swollen. It was just my pinky. And it was just the tip of my pinky, and it was very large. And, I had been having some margaritas that day. So I thought, okay, maybe I had too much salt. Maybe it's just water retention. I couldn't quite figure it out, but I didn't think too much of it until the other symptoms started to come into play. The fatigue, the pain, the joint swelling. And that's when I decided it was something a little bit more serious and I should get it checked out.
Now, what was the span of time from this swollen pinky to where you felt really, your body was aching in pain? What was that span of time before you decided, I got to get this checked out?
For me, it was actually fairly quick. I'm quite stubborn, so I was like, no, I've got this. I'm in pain. I can power through it. It doesn't matter. Maybe I'm not getting enough rest. Maybe I worked out too hard at the gym that day. So I was making excuses until one day I woke up and I literally could not get out of bed. I was just too tired. I was in too much pain. I just kind of felt like I was giving up a little bit.
Wow.
So my friends got really worried about me and my entire family's on the East Coast. So when they were hearing me, when they would talk to me on the phone, they started to get really worried as well. So it actually deteriorated fairly quickly. And, the day when I couldn't get out of bed, I decided that's it. I've got to go figure out what this is.
And then comes the journey of doctor to doctor to doctor. What do I got? What have I got? What do I have? Give me a name.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a tough one for doctors to name. You had a lot of tests, but no one was telling you what it was. How did you finally discover that this was lupus?
Unfortunately, as is with a lot of autoimmune diseases, especially back then, we're talking, 8-9 years ago, they didn't know what it was. It was hard to diagnose. A lot of doctors weren't looking for these specific diseases. There wasn't a lot of literature out about them. They weren't as well known. People knew of them but didn't know what it was. So I'm in my mid to late 20s and I'm walking in explaining how I feel. And these doctors are looking at me like, you're perfectly fine. You're an active, vibrant girl in her 20s. There's nothing wrong with you. It's in your head. I had one doctor tell me that I had woman problems. Needless to say, that didn't go over very well with me.
Of course.
Yeah. So it was, it was a difficult road, and I'm doing it by myself. I'm alone, and I'm scared. I didn't, it's really terrifying when you don't know what is wrong. I think that was more scary than the illness itself, was not knowing. I mean, I didn't know if I was dying. I didn't know if I was going to wake up the next day. There were days where I kind of wish I didn't wake up because I was in so much pain. So,
well, there was one day, wasn't there, that you were in so much pain that you couldn't even let your dog outside?
Yeah, I lived on the second floor of an apartment, and I had this absolutely wonderful dog. Her name's Roxy, and I kind of got out of my bed and crawled over to my front door, and I opened the door and I looked at Roxy and I said, "Mama, go pee and please come back." And I just had to let her go downstairs and hope that she came back. That was a very low point for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. That is terrifying. And so when you did finally get the news, what doctor helped you, find out the solution?
Interestingly, I had gone to about 5-6 doctors. All of them either said I was okay or just wanted to start pumping me full of prescription drugs without having a diagnosis, which I will not do. I refuse to take pills unless it's absolutely necessary. I think that they cause more harm than good in a lot of cases, especially if you're not properly diagnosed. So I ended up going to the only doctor who I had seen every year since I had moved to California, which was my gynecologist, and just to take a meeting with him because he knew me and he knew my medical history. He knew everything about me. So I just took a meeting with him, and he took one look at me when I arrived and said, "You're not okay. I can see it in your face. I can see it on your body. You're not okay." So he referred me to a colleague of his. They had gone through medical school together, who was a rheumatologist. And thankfully, when I got that referral and I went and met my now doctor, he was gracious and lovely and sat down with me for over an hour and a half, getting all of my personal history, my medical history, my symptoms, everything, and then did a full workup. Took around 14 vials of blood, which I hate getting blood taken. So that wasn't great for me, but I was happy to do it if it meant that I would know what was wrong. And he was able to diagnose me. Well, and getting that diagnosis, you'd think that'd be scary, but it brought you some relief. And we're going to have to take a commercial break, Kristen, so I want you to stay with us. But there's more to her story as to discovering what lupus was and how to make changes in her life and how to live a life with this chronic condition. So we'll be coming right back and hearing more of Kristen's story. And again, think about in your life, where are you frustrated? Where are you looking for answers? And this is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari, and we'll be right back after this break. Stay with us.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And right now, we're talking about frustrations in life and how we overcome those so we can live full out. And our inspirational guest today, Kristen Renton, is such a good example of going through a time of frustration when she didn't know why she was feeling so fatigued, was in pain, and then finding out that she had lupus. And then the journey, further continues. And what does that mean? And how does she make changes in her life? And so we're going to go ahead and jump back into our interview. So hello, Kristen. Welcome again.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. So, for many of our listeners who are dealing with their own health challenges, and if you can't put a name to how you feel, that can be frustrating. That can be just like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you take? No one's telling you, any answers. Do you work out? Do you eat differently? Do you take pills? What do you do? Now, you finally got your diagnosis. What did that mean to you? Did it set you free? Did you go, aha, I knew it, there was something? How did getting that name, lupus, how did that change your life?
Well, first, it validated what I had been feeling, which I thought was really important because, having gone through so many other doctors prior to getting my diagnosis and them all telling me I was fine or I was just having woman problems, that was very hurtful. It was very frustrating. And it really did start to make me feel like, am I just losing my mind? Is this all in my head? I know I feel this way, but everybody else seems to say that nothing's wrong with me. So getting the diagnoses really gave me some relief. And then also being able to have a name to what was wrong with me, I was very excited about that. As strange as it sounds, I actually was very excited about it. And the night that I had gotten my diagnosis, I went out to dinner with my girlfriends and we had a whole My Sickness Has a Name party. I mean, it really was this moment of elation of, okay, I am sick. It has a name, and now I can start to get better. Now I can start to treat it and hopefully, move in a forward positive direction.
Which I love, which is so, going after life, saying, I'm not going to let this hold me back. So what did you do? What was your first plan of attack?
My first plan of attack was, I did as much research as I could. The specific type that I have, there wasn't a lot of literature out at that particular moment, but what was there, and I talked to my doctor in length about what kind of lifestyle changes I could make to ease the symptoms. So right out the gate, I became gluten-free. I was diagnosed with celiac the same time I was diagnosed with lupus, and going gluten-free completely alleviated all of my stomach issues. It alleviated the majority of my inflammation, the majority of my joint pain. So that made a huge difference. Just that tweak in my diet. And that can be very frustrating as well, especially when you travel as much as I do for work. It's very difficult to eat out. It's very difficult to eat on the plane, in the airport. There are not a lot of gluten-free places in Kansas or Texas,
Right.
So that can get a little overwhelming at times, but as long as you kind of know how to change, and tweak certain items on the menu and whatnot, you can get by, and you can make it work. And I also think right away I really focused on my workout regimen, staying active, keep moving, doing a lot of yoga, a lot of stretching, a lot of that. Just keeping your body healthy and moving really does help.
And that's a good takeaway for all of us, whether you have lupus or not, to work out, switch up the diet, that can help even as we get older. And sometimes when people are given a diagnosis and now you know what you have, it can still feel lonely because it's not like all your friends and all your coworkers and all your family have it. So you eventually found Lupus LA, and that also opened a brand new chapter to your life. How did you find that?
What you touched on with everybody that's in your life doesn't have it. It was very difficult because lupus is not a disease that you can visually see. Normally, the symptoms you feel, but they aren't overt. You don't really see them on somebody's face or on somebody's body. It's not like the chickenpox where, wow, that person has chickenpox. So it is a disease of mystery in the sense that I'll say, I'm really tired and I'm sick, and people look at me and they say, but you look fine. So it was very isolating in the beginning because people didn't understand why I didn't want to go do all these things with them or why I wanted to stay home on a Friday night. And it did get a little, it got a little sad there for a while because, and then also people not understanding that it's not a disease that they can catch. They get a little, oh, well, I'm just going to go over here and I'll catch you later. They didn't want to get whatever it was I had. So it did become a little isolating. But I was introduced to Lupus LA through a dear friend of mine, Bob Guinea, and he was an ambassador for Lupus LA. Very good friend of his was also an ambassador, and that's how he got brought in. And so he was talking to me about it. I went to one of their fundraisers, and he introduced me to the founder of Lupus LA, and they, we just began talking about my journey and my struggles, and they asked me if I'd like to come on board and be an ambassador as well. And I jumped at the opportunity, and they've been just amazing, not only as a family and you know, a phenomenal support group, but also all the fundraising that they do and all the awareness that they do and the great energy that they put out into the universe and the way they educate the public. It's a phenomenal organization.
You know, it's interesting because there's such great support groups and organizations for multiple causes. Pretty much, I'm not going to say everything because there are some out there that are still growing and getting recognized. But, you know, did you ever kind of have that moment where, okay, I'm an actress, I'm traveling, like I don't have time? Or how did you find yourself making time to be a part of that group? Because it would be so easy to say, I'm just tired, or I'm traveling, or I can't. But I do believe that surrounding yourself with others who are like-minded or going through similar symptoms or have a similar journey is important. Did you ever confront that with yourself, that needing to make time?
You know, yes and no. When I found this organization, I automatically was so drawn to them, and I said, I have to be a part of this. I have to give back. I have to help educate, because when I was diagnosed, I was completely ignorant as to what it was. Even though I had heard of it before, I was completely ignorant. So there was never a question that I wanted to be a part of this and do what I could. When I had gotten into the acting business, I had always said the minute that I am given a soapbox, the minute I make it enough that people actually want to hear what I have to say, I'm never going to get off that soapbox. And I've stayed true to that. There are a lot of causes and a lot of things that I truly believe in and truly want to continue to help and give back. And, you know, the understanding of lupus and Lupus LA is one of those causes. And yeah, there are times where I'm exhausted, and there are times where I just want to stay in my bed all day and not deal with reality or the outside world. But, you know, I think about that, and then I think about the alternative of what good is that going to do? It's not even going to help me, you know? So I think just normal people deal with that on a daily basis. And yes, it's compounded by the fact that I'm sick, but at the same time, I would much rather not be feeling well, but be accomplishing something than not be feeling well and just be feeling sorry for myself on top of that. If that
I get that completely. I hear you. I do. And it's interesting because I'll have clients that will reach out to me, and whatever they're dealing with in the moment, you know, you're dealing with lupus, I'm dealing with retinitis pigmentosa, but then there's this fear around the future. How do you handle the fear of where lupus will go for you in the future?
You know, I just stay optimistic, and I don't think about any negative things. I just continue to think that I'm maintaining well. They're making great strides in medication and, early diagnoses. And, you know, I am lucky that the regimen that I have for myself is still continuing to work. And I think that maintaining a positive attitude and an optimistic outlook is just as important as doing the physical activity and taking your prescription. I think there's something really, truly to be said about a positive mindset. So I try to just keep that.
Yeah. And then, you know, because this journey has been very frustrating in getting the name and then figuring out what changes you need to make, how did you handle the frustrations?
Well, I had my moments where I didn't handle it very well. Not gonna lie, but it didn't. Again, I realized that it wasn't serving me, you know, in any positive way to be down on myself, to be frustrated, to do any of that stuff. I mean, look, as humans, we have 1,000 different things that frustrate us each and every day, and it's how we deal with those and how we continue to change and evolve and stay positive and learn to live with those that keeps us moving forward. So, you know, there are days where I'm so tired and I'm sick of being tired and I'm tired of being sick. And, you know, it can be this frustrating circle. But at the same time, I have to say, look, I am lucky to be as healthy as I am with this disease. I am lucky that I am able to get up, walk to the store, be a voice for people who cannot do that, and continue to help and educate. So what do I really have to be upset about?
I love that, Kristen, and we are lucky that we got you today because you're so busy, and I'm glad that you had today to join us, and I want to thank you very much for all your words of encouragement and motivation, and we look forward to seeing you on many shows to come. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And when we come back, everybody, we're going to be taking your calls. Again, we're talking about those frustrations and how we can get them out of our life. They don't have a place there. They hold us back from living our life full out. So we'll be taking your calls when we come back. And thank you again, Kristen Renton, for sharing with us about her lupus journey, but yet thriving despite that. And I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be right back.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're gonna jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So we all know we've got a lot of talent in America. But unfortunately, there's something else we've got way too much of. Childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gather surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care, people, for goodness sake.
Health insurance is now affordable, and
covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
It's natural in life that we're going to have frustrations, times that we just feel as though the world is against us. But always remember that you have the ability to seek resources, get support, and most of all, stay empowered and motivated. And don't let those frustrations haunt you or tell you that you can't do something or be something. You want to move them out of your head. Tell them they have no place in your life. Because honestly, frustrations are going to come, but we have the ability to conquer them. We have the ability to move around them and over them. That's a large part of what it means to live full out.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
All right, final segment of the show. I can't believe how fast it goes every week. But what I want to do now is just make sure that you've honed in on that frustration on your life. Because the thing is I want you to leave the show today feeling as though you got this, that you're going to be able to take one thing that's just gnawing at you and figure out a way to put it aside, handle it, manage it, get over it, around it, you name it. And that's a large part of what we do here on the show each week. So whatever that frustration is, whatever you're facing, you want to first of all consider, can I handle this on my own? Is there a way that I can kind of move through this situation in my life in a way that I can get around it, that I can manage it? Now, if you can't, I want you to call us or email us. Let us help give you some resources so that you're able to not have to deal with it on your own. And get the support that you need. Sometimes just telling family and friends what you're dealing with, that's critical. Because if you don't tell people, nobody knows. And if you're frustrated and you're dealing with something that is just taking over your mind and your heart and not allowing you to thrive, but yet other people look at you and they think that you're grouchy or in a bad mood or depressed, if they don't know what's going on, then they can't help you. So it's important to find a way to express to people what you're facing. I know sometimes that can be scary because you don't want people to make fun of you or judge you. But honestly, what I have learned in life is that when we're our most vulnerable, when we are inviting people into our hearts, our fears, our concerns, now we're relatable. No one wants the person who is perfect, flawless, surface-like happy all the time. People want to know that they get you, that you get them, that there's a shared camaraderie in overcoming these frustrations together. So that is my invitation to you today, to not go through it alone. In fact, we're getting a word from our producer that we have a caller on the line. We're going to say hello to them. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out show.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can. Yes, I can. How can we help you today?
So I'm a sophomore in college, and I started to date a guy that I really liked this past semester. And so once I told my mom, she wasn't really happy with me because he was of a different, culture, ethnicity. So my question was, how do I, come to terms with what my mom said, but, I don't know, still figure out my feelings for this guy I'm dating?
It's a really good question, and I can tell there's kind of sadness in your heart, right? When you like somebody, you like them,
Uh-huh.
And I think it's great that you don't feel locked into needing to look for a certain type of person, that you're open. Couple suggestions I have. Now, it's going to take a little research on your side, okay? I think it would be very interesting to research other relationships within your culture. So first of all, can you share what that is for us, so we know? So we reference point.
Sorry, I'm from India.
From India. All right, representing India. Okay, but here's the thing. I would look for or research other relationships where people have gone outside of dating someone from India. Could be a celebrity relationship. It could be someone politically. It could be, just find some other examples. And that might help your conversation with your mom to show that, you're not going against the grain, that others have done it and it's worked out. And then beyond that, I really think you have to have a heart-to-heart with her, and just kind of find out why this is so important to her. And, there's a saying where you have to eventually figure out if you want to be right or you want to be happy. Does your mom want to be right and kind of put you in a box, or does she want you to be happy? So once you can figure out why she's so emotionally invested in this and kind of have a conversation about it, I think it'll help. And with that conversation, find the best method to talk to her. It may be face-to-face, it may be by phone, it actually may be a handwritten letter or an email. Because I know for me, sometimes, even though I talk to people all the time, if I'm like emotionally invested, sometimes I get tongue-tied when I'm talking to someone. I just can't really quite get my words out, believe it or not. So figure out the best method to share with your mom about what's in your heart. Is that something you can do?
Yeah, for sure.
And then, you know what? I don't know. Personally, I think this is your life to live. And love him in whatever capacity you can. Romantically, friendship. But I wouldn't give up on that relationship. I would keep him close to you. Okay? Thank you so much for calling in, though.
Thank you.
And for everybody listening today, I hope that you've been empowered. I hope that you've started to look at those frustrations in your life in a different way. Not that they have that control over you that you thought they did at the beginning of the show. It's really important that as you live full out, that you take ownership over your life. You say, you know what? I'm going to handle this, but it's not going to control my life. So I want to thank everybody who listened to the show today, everyone who puts the show together. We have Rich and Roger and Bailey and Kristen and so many people that are dedicated to making sure that you live full out, that you feel supported. Again, I invite you to listen to this show and all of our shows because, I don't know, I find that when I listen to motivational songs, podcasts, and when I surround myself with healthy thoughts, I'm able to be ready for those frustrations that come my way. So you want to be ready and manage those. Most of all, I believe in you, and we look forward to having you call us next week. And again, I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. And put those frustrations aside. Just, tell them they have no place in your life. Get out of there.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.